What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. In this video, I want to talk to you about bear defense handguns. I want to talk about everything you need to know to select a bear defense handgun or a handgun for wilderness carry. So here in Pennsylvania, we don't have grizzly bears or polar bears, but we do have black bears, and we do have world record black bears. The largest black bear ever killed was in Pennsylvania, a 900 plus pounder, and every year here in Pennsylvania people shoot 600-700 pound black bears. It's very common. So the bears here in Pennsylvania are quite large. And a lot of you guys may be saying, well, a 700-pound black bear, it's most likely, 40% fat. And that's not true. The black bears here in Pennsylvania also have large skulls. A lot of their skulls are 20 to 25 inches in measurement, which is basically the same size as a grizzly bear. So it's not just that they're big and fat and they eat a lot of garbage. No. They're actually just large-bodied creatures. They have big bones and a lot of muscle. We also have elk, and elk can be dangerous, especially in the rut, which lasts from August all the way until even December. So while I don't live in Alaska or Montana, there are some threats here, and I do carry handguns to deal with those threats. And it's not just the bull elk that you have to worry about, but the female elks can be very defensive of their calves. Same thing with female moose. Female moose can be as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than a grizzly bear. I've even seen videos of white-tailed deer attacking people. So carrying a firearm in the wilderness is not just because of bears, but other animals can attack you. Okay? Even white-tailed deer, even bucks during the rut can charge you if you get too close. But if you live in places like Alaska or Montana, you definitely want to have some kind of wilderness carry handgun. And even if you don't live in Montana or Alaska, don't think that you don't need some kind of firearm to defend yourself, okay? A lot of people don't understand that actually black bears are responsible for the most attacks on people of all the bears, and not just the most attacks, but most of the lethal attacks, okay? So black bears are responsible for the most attacks, and they're responsible for the most lethal attacks on human beings, okay? So do not underestimate black bears, okay? Just because a lot of black bears have a tendency of running doesn't mean all of them will run, okay? And black bears are also responsible for the most predatory attacks of all bears. So they're responsible for the most predatory attacks, the most lethal attacks, and the most attacks in general. So just wanted to mention that because a lot of people say, well, bears, the only threat are from brown bears or polar bears. You don't have to worry about black bears. They'll just run away. But look up some cases, okay? Even here in the eastern United States, there have been several man-eating bear attacks, okay, in places like New Jersey, of all places in the east, literally just 50 to 100 miles from New York City. In 2014, yeah, that's right, New Jersey, literally 60 miles from New York City, the largest city and the most densely populated city in the entire United States and North America, literally just 60 miles from New York City. There was a man-eating situation where a black bear stalked, killed, and consumed a hiker, okay? There was also some man-eating attacks in the Smoky Mountains, and recently in Tennessee, there were several possible man-eating attacks or aggressive attacks on human beings that were not defensive in nature, not, a bear defending itself, but basically a bear exhibiting predatory behavior. Black bears are more than likely going to be exhibiting predatory behavior if they come after you in the woods, okay? If a black bear is pursuing you and it's not going away, chances are it's a predatory attack, and in that situation, you need a firearm to defend yourself, okay? Now, grizzly bears can also be predatory, polar bears, obviously. So any bear is dangerous, whether it's a polar bear, a grizzly bear, a black bear, it does not matter. Okay, any bear can kill you. Even a 200-pound black bear is literally several times stronger than an adult male human being. Okay, a fully grown man, the average man. I'm not talking about, an above average sized man, that's a football player or a strong man or something like that, but even just a small black bear is several times stronger than the average man, okay? So it's really hard to say with black bears if they're going to run or if they're going to attack. Most of the time, black bears will run, but you can't generalize. I've been in situations where bears have not run away and they've stood their ground, and I actually had a situation in my family, a bear charge in my family, or a possible predatory or territorial behavior exhibited towards my dad when he was deer hunting in upstate New York in the Catskill Mountains, literally just 100 miles from New York City. He was deer hunting, and a massive black bear, probably 500 or 600 pounds, started running towards him, and it stopped literally 10 yards away from him, and it was hiding behind a tree. And my dad actually shot at it. He shot a warning shot from his 12 gauge shotgun with a rifled slug, and the bear was not even scared at all by that blast. It just completely ignored it, and then it eventually ran off. And then later on, my dad found a gut pile not too far away from where he was, left by a deer hunter, and my dad thinks that the bear went to that gut pile and was investigating it, and then maybe smelled my dad when he was getting closer, and then he kind of ran towards my dad, maybe as a territorial behavior, kind of to scare my dad or something. The bear thinks that my dad is going after the gut pile also. So you just never know. You can't generalize and say, well, it's a black bear, it's not going to charge, or, oh, I'm not in a really remote area, I'm close to a big city, I'm in the suburbs. It doesn't matter. Okay, the fatal man-eating bear attack in New Jersey was literally just 60 miles from New York City in a suburb. Okay, so the conventional wisdom of black bears only attacking in remote areas, or black bears are not dangerous, they run away, is just complete BS. It's not backed by any science. It's just hearsay. So go by the science, go by the statistics. Black bears are responsible for the most predatory attacks, the most lethal attacks, and the most attacks in general of all the bear species. So I want to just share my thoughts about handguns for bear defense. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that handguns are actually not the best choice for bear defense. I know they're very popular now on YouTube and different platforms. People think that, a handgun is all you need, but that's actually false. And if you don't believe me, you can go to the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They put out an entire pamphlet on bear defense for USDA forest workers in the United States, Forest Service workers. They put out an entire booklet on bear defense and what kind of firearms to carry, what are the best ones. And the USDA and the U.S. Forest Service state that handguns are not the best choice, okay? And the reason why is for several reasons. Number one, shooting a handgun is much harder than shooting a rifle or any kind of long gun because you have nothing to stabilize the firearm. Okay, just simple physics. When you're shooting a handgun, you're basically supporting the entire handgun with your arms. There's nothing to stabilize this firearm. So why is that important? Well, if you're shooting at the range at a paper target, you might not notice much of a difference. But if you're in a life or death situation, you're going to have an adrenaline rush and your hands are going to be shaking. You're going to lose dexterity in your fingers because all the blood is going to go from your fingers to your organs because your body is anticipating some kind of massive traumatic event. Your body is expecting this bear to come and rip you apart. So it's sending all the blood to your muscles and to your organs so you can get the heck out of there or fight. You know, this is the fight or flight response. And also so your body can heal itself rapidly and close wounds and clot wounds very quickly so you don't bleed out and die. So as a result, the dexterity in your fingers is going to be tremendously reduced. It's going to feel like you were standing outside in sub-freezing temperatures for a while, and you know your hands get kind of cold and they're kind of hard to move around. Your fingers get, you know, numb. It's going to kind of feel like that. And if you're shooting a handgun, it's going to be a lot harder to maintain good sight alignment. Okay, your hands are going to be doing this. Okay, look at the sights here. Okay, your hands are going to be shaking. Okay, they're going to be doing this. Okay, it's going to be much harder to keep your sights aligned. All right, so from that aspect alone, handguns are inferior to any kind of long gun, whether it's a rifle or a shotgun. And even the most powerful handgun in the world, which I have right here, this is a Smith & Wesson Model 500. Even this handgun is just barely as powerful as medium power hunting rifles, okay? And the recoil on this handgun is tremendous, and it's not easy to shoot. Okay, so even like a 270 Winchester, a 308 Winchester, a 3006, which I would consider to be like medium power hunting rifles, they don't have a tremendous amount of recoil. They're easy to shoot, easy to control. Those rifles will have even a little bit more power than this 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum, but shooting this 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum is going to be a whole lot harder than a rifle for several reasons, okay? So handguns are never going to be as good as any kind of long gun. If you have to use a handgun against a charging bear of any species, you're in a bad situation. It's always best to have a long gun. Now, the advantage that a handgun has over long guns is that a handgun is lighter, it's more portable, it's, you know, compact. You can easily carry it all day long. They're lightweight. Okay, you have a 2 or 3 pound handgun versus an 8 or 10 pound rifle. You know, eventually that rifle or shotgun is going to get heavy, and you're going to get tired. You're going to want to put it down. So the advantage to the handgun is that you can easily carry this handgun on your person all day long, and you really won't notice that it's there because it's so much lighter than a rifle. Also, carrying a handgun keeps your hands free, okay? So if you're doing something like fishing or, you know, whatever you're doing, you know, it keeps your hands free and it's much lighter. And if you're on an extended hike or a backpacking trip, it's one less thing to wear you down and weigh you down. Okay, so if you're hiking 50 miles with a 50-pound pack, you know, and then you add another 10-pound rifle on top of that with ammunition, you know, it's just going to wear you down more. But with a pistol, you don't even know it's there. So that's a big advantage over the rifle that the pistol has, is that it's compact, lightweight, and you're much more likely to carry it into the backcountry because of that. Okay, it's just much more convenient, much lighter. And also, if, you know, you're using hiking trails or you're frequenting areas where there might be other people, you know, some people may not feel comfortable carrying a rifle or shotgun if they're going to run into other people on the trail because they don't want to startle someone. You know, if you're walking down a trail and you have this big rifle over your shoulder and you run into like a family or something with, you know, young kids, they might get startled depending on, you know, what part of the country you're in, if you're in a gun-friendly area or not. It doesn't matter. It's going to make people stare at you, question you, you know, what are you doing? Are you poaching? So for that reason, a lot of people prefer to carry handguns because you can conceal them and they don't draw attention like a rifle or a shotgun. So that's the main advantage to a pistol, is it's compact, concealable, lightweight. You know, you can easily carry it all day long. You can be doing anything, literally anything, and still have the pistol on your person depending on what kind of holster you have, okay? If you have a chest holster, that chest holster can literally stay on your body all the time. So even if you're going to the bathroom, okay, that pistol is still going to be on your person, okay? And that's one of the reasons why I highly recommend a chest holster, because no matter what you're doing, that pistol is always going to be with you, okay? Whether you're going to the bathroom, starting a fire, gutting a deer, fishing, whatever it is, that chest holster is always going to be on you, and it's always going to be easy to access, okay, from any position, whether you're standing, whether you're kneeling, whether you have a pack on, whether you're laying down. Okay, these are things to think about. If a bear knocks you down on the ground, you still want to be able to access that handgun so you can at least use it against the bear if it's starting to maul you, you know, and that's where the chest holster has a huge advantage over other types of holsters, is that even if a bear knocks you down, all you have to do is be able to get one arm onto your chest, your shooting arm onto your chest, and draw that pistol out, okay? So those are some of the advantages of pistols over long guns. Again, pistols don't draw attention. They won't startle the general public like rifles will, okay? But again, rifles and shotguns are always going to be superior to handguns, especially rifles. I wouldn't say shotguns so much because shotguns don't have great penetration, and I'm going to talk about that in the next video where I do long guns for bear defense. But rifles are much better than handguns. If you can get away with carrying a rifle, a nice, you know, short barrel rifle, maybe a 20-inch barrel rifle or even 16-inch barrel rifle, medium to high power, even a 308 Winchester is going to generate as much energy as a 500 Smith & Wesson, and it will have similar penetration as a 500 Smith & Wesson. But you're going to have a shoulder stock, you're going to have better sights, you can even put a scope on it, and you can have a sling. So, you know, a rifle is always going to be superior to handguns. I don't care what anybody says. And you can even look up on the USDA, U.S. Department of Agriculture. They have an entire pamphlet on bear defense for USDA employees and U.S. Forest Service employees. And they clearly say that handguns are the worst. Okay, you're much better off with either a shotgun or a rifle if you can get away with carrying one. If the weight doesn't bother you and, you know, you're not worried about startling the general public. So also, laws are going to have a big effect on this. So, for example, in certain states in the United States or even in certain countries, you're not allowed to open carry a firearm. So what that means is that if you're carrying a rifle in the backcountry and you're on a hiking trail, you're open carrying that rifle. You're not going to be able to conceal a rifle. I mean, I guess you could if you had like a burley stock backpack and you can put that rifle in the burley stock pack. A minority of states have no open carry allowed. So what that means is you can only conceal a firearm, and usually those concealable firearms are limited to handguns. You cannot conceal a rifle and carry it around in public, okay? I know that's what it was like in New York. Here in Pennsylvania, it's an open carry state, so if I wanted to, I can open carry a rifle in the woods and nobody can say anything about it. I may get questions from certain people, or maybe a game warden is going to ask me what I'm doing, but it's 100% legal, okay? So check the laws in your area. That's number one, the most important thing. You don't want to get jammed up. But if you're in an area like New York or other blue states where you have to conceal and you can only conceal a handgun, then obviously handgun's going to be your best choice, okay? So I want to just discuss the pros and cons of these different firearms here. We have some big bore revolvers, and then here we have some big bore semi-autos. So I want to just compare them and discuss pros and cons